Okay, welcome back, friends. We are in for video 3 of this deck build. Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time on this intro. Let's just jump in and get to work. We got a lot to get accomplished in this video. I do, as always, want to give a big thanks to Thermaree for sponsoring this entire build series. They have provided the beautiful decking lumber and the skirting and the soffit wood. It is the best smelling wood. I mean, it smells, I am not very good with words. If I was, I could explain how good it smells, but I mean, there's woods out there. I've worked with a lot of woods. Texas pecan is gross. It smells like cow patties. Walnut smells pretty delicious. This is up there as one of the best smelling woods. I guess it's the process that does it. They bake this stuff in a kiln. They heat it up. It gives it this beautiful color. It bakes all the sugars out of the wood, makes it rot resistant, mildew resistant, insect resistant, and most importantly, and what I am very appreciative and very amazed by, is it's stable, incredibly stable. I mean, it's been baking in the Texas sun all summer and no boards have warped, no boards have popped. I tell you this every video, but as a woodworker, I'm pretty amazed by it. So as always, thanks to Thermaree. Let's just hop right in. We got to get this planter we started in the last video done, and then we got some framing to do. So let's get into it. Okay, so back into the concrete planter. So here we are putting the interior form in, just made out of 3/4 plywood. I had laying around in the shop. This will shape the, obviously the inside of the planter where the soil goes and the plants go. So we've got to get this thing set. Obviously it's got to be even, centered in there perfectly. So I think we have about a 4-inch wall all the way around. And then we've got that pink foam. It's like 2-inch thick foam I had laying around. We cut that to put into the box to keep it from collapsing in from the weight of the concrete, kind of bowing in. And we've also got those top boards that's what's going to secure it and hold it in place. So once we get this all set and get it in position, we're going to drill out these holes. These are weep holes, and they'll allow the water to escape the planter. I'm just going to use some copper tubing I had laying around and shove those in there, and we'll grind those down, and it'll create a place for water to get out of the planter. Should also add my pool's in really rough shape here in this video. Normally it's in better shape. Still mastering the art of taking care of a pool. I want you to notice too the bracing we put in to hold the actual planter. As we keep filling it with more concrete, we don't want those boards to bow out and cause the whole side to have a bulge. And you can see the pipe there coming in. That's kind of where it's going to land, right there at the bottom of the planter.
Just sweep it up a little bit.
You think it'll kink? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start back and bring it.
Okay, so let's do a quick fast forward to show you the finished planter, because I think you've missed a few things there, and I want to share it real quick. First, the weep holes. So this is what those ended up looking like. And I cut these back. I still need to grind them flush to the surface of the planter, but basically, and you can see kind of the stain marks where they leak water out. I don't really mind that. I think it adds character. I think it looks cool. So that to me is not an issue. I filled it with rock in here. We still have a bunch of you can't see it, but it's back there, the rock we had for building this. And I'm hoping that if I do this before I put soil in, it'll help keep the soil from settling down into the pipes and clogging them. But I'll dig out here and show you one. So basically what ended up happening is when we filled this, and you can even see that line there where the 3/4 is, and you can see we still got plywood in here. You just couldn't get it all out. The concrete kind of lifted up in here and actually covered the copper pipe. So I just took a masonry bit on an angle grinder and grinded down until I hit it, and I ended up grinding a nice hole in the pipe, and gives it a spot for water to drain out of. And so if it rains or when we water the plants, it won't settle and stay down in the bottom. As long as it doesn't clog, cross my finger, should work great. But I wanted to share that real quick to let you know kind of how that ended up finishing up. So we're just slowly filling it up with concrete. As we fill in those sides, it starts to come up underneath as well. And Travis is kind of troweling it out, making sure there's a slope down towards those drain pipes we put in. One thing we did run into, that concrete kind of lifted up in that plywood, and there's still to this day pieces of 3/4 plywood in there. We had to break and cut out that form. It was locked in because I bet that concrete came up an inch or more above the sides of the plywood, and yeah, it just kind of locked it in place. All right, so the liquefaction. This is my favorite part of this whole process, is watching this concrete just turn into like a watery soup and settle and look real nice. It's super satisfying to do, and it's amazing how, like, I'm really happy with how well it came out, as far as the sides here being straight and there's no bow in any of the boards. The way the concrete didn't cause any issues, the forms held up nicely. It all just looks so good. So I'm happy with it. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Whoa, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we begin the very exciting part of pulling these forms off and seeing what we have. I think this cedar, rough cedar, left a great texture, really cool look. I love the seams where each form meets, and you got this little seepage of concrete, and you got a line there. Everything's nice and even. I mean, for me, it's all, I kind of obsess over these details. A lot of people don't care. My son Johnny being silly, because he's the silliest kid in the world, honestly. Anytime he sees the camera on, he does this. It's kind of fun. One thing I want to note is I put old motor oil on the inside of these forms so they didn't stick. The concrete wouldn't stick. That's a really important thing to do. Anything you can put on it just to keep that concrete from sticking. When you pull the form, you won't pull chunks of concrete with it. Got it.
Sorry, I tricked you. Cool, yeah.
Okay, we move into framing. I'm not going to show a whole lot of the framing, and the reason why is because there is thousands of videos on YouTube on how to frame a deck, and there's some good ones, and you know, it's not that complicated. Travis did he took the lead on this. One of the reasons why I wanted his help, because this is his place. He knows how to do this. So we've doubled up a 2x12 here, and we're putting in our joist hangers. This is going to be what, quote unquote, you would call maybe the ledger board. It's not actually attached to the house. It's free floating on footings that we poured. You can see them right there against the house. And so that means our deck is going to be free of the house. So here Travis kind of makes a bit of a mistake. We're going to have to take this back down. What? Yeah, it does look pretty close. Put it back. Happens to the best of us. Do this stuff all the time. So luckily we're in the world of a video, and I can make a quick cut and we can fix the problem and go right back to getting it right. So now we've taken 1.25 inches off of our post, so we can drop down the thickness of our decking and get a nice clean transition into that concrete threshold there at the door.
Much better. That's better, yeah.
Basically what we did is we set 2 posts, got our ledger board kind of leveled up, and then I came and cut the other 2 posts to length, and we slid them in, and then Travis is attaching them with post caps, I think is what you call them. It's just a hardware that ties that 4x4 post into your ledger board. You can see here we're putting that last one in, getting it leveled out. All right, so moving on to the opposite side of the deck, same process here. I think you'd call this the rim joist. Same thing. It's 2 2x12s put together, and then we set it on a couple posts, and now we're coming in and adding the other posts, cutting them the length and fitting them in. This is actually the joists that run from our ledger board are going to ride on top of this, and we're going to hang them long. And the reason for that is we don't actually know yet where our deck's going to terminate. We're kind of going off the roof line, but we just leave them wild out there, and then when we get to the point where we're ready to start putting in the decking and the skirting framing, we can cut those and get it all figured out. This is where I love framing because it goes so quick, you know, like within a couple hours you can have really almost close to a finished product, and it's such a large space that we managed to frame out in a quick amount of time. So we're just laying in all these joists, and like I said, they sit right on top of that rim board there, and we'll toenail those in place and start working on the front. Okay, let's do a quick fast forward to present time. I want to do a little bit of an overview of the front section of the deck. So why I chose to do this. So originally the house had landscaping here, and I had originally intended on bringing that skirting around all the way to the stone entrance. But then once I tore it all out, I really liked the way it looked open, like just seeing the whole house. So I thought, let's just span that. Let's get a beam and make something cool here, and I'll come back and put in, I'll dig this out, put a little landscape fabric, and put some stone in here. So how this works is I fabricated a couple metal brackets. I got one here that attaches this big beam, which you can see here, to the deck structure that we just put together. So that holds that in place. And then we scoot over, I did some more metal fab down here, a little U-bolt, not a U-bolt, but a U-bracket to capture this beam, and then a plate there to help hold this little T-post here that we made. And this is what supports kind of this little bridge section. So I was able to get this material from a sawmill local here. This is cool stuff. It's got a lot of character. It's got these old mortises in here, some chisel work there. This is some old timber. I like these details. We left them sitting here. You can see the tenon coming in right here. They just cut it, but that would be how it goes in. You can see the pegs pegging it in place. So it's cool. The post beams here, luckily I had the big bandsaw. I was able to process all that down, cut it to size. I worked a late night one night kind of getting all this set and in place. And then Travis came in and did the framing underneath. So we added a couple 2x8s, doubled them up, and did these little crisscross majiggers. I don't know what you call those. Travis did that. I think it's pretty cool looking, and probably good to have. So that's a quick overview of this front deck structure. I do want to add that I think it's very likely that I'll add a support here. I'll probably pour another footing and add a support in the middle and lift this a little bit. It was worth a shot, but I think it's starting to sag a little bit, and I don't think I got quite beefy enough of a beam for this span. Goes to show I don't really know what I'm doing. I just thought it would look cool, and it's got a lot of spring to it when you walk on it, which is cool. I'll leave it for a little while. I've got to put the railing in. I've got the railing right here behind me. I'm working on painting that. You'll see that in the end of the video series. So maybe once I put that in, that'll add some stiffness, or it might just cause the railing to sag too. And if that's the case, all we got to do is come lift this and then get a footing down here and just slide in a similar assembly to that right in here and lock it all in place. So I knew when I built this that it's possible we had to do that. So it's not hard to add that. Oh man, this is gonna make my daughter so sad. Little bird died. He ran into our window. My daughter loves birds. In fact, I 100% guarantee you she'll tell me exactly what kind of bird that is when she sees it. She's gonna be bummed. Okay, so before we start laying down thermary decorating, we are going to tape everything off with joist tape. Originally wasn't going to do this. I honestly, like, there's a lot of hype about joist tape. I don't know what's right or wrong, if it actually does work. It just creates that moisture barrier. But I did talk to Thermary about it, and the recommendation was not, they thought it was a good idea to do it for the moisture barrier, but also because as you walk over the deck, you can see, you know, you got a 1/4 inch gap between your deck boards. You can see through, and you know, it looks a little bit better when you look through and you see black as opposed to your kind of lighter colored framing boards. And then on the beam there, we put just some zip tape that we had laying around, and Travis had a roller. We rolled that out and got it on there nice and secure. Okay, so this is a real exciting point for me, and I know a lot of people can't feel it from the camera. This is actually us originally unloading the Thermary wood when I got it in like January of or December of last year. Put it in my shipping container. It's been sitting there for probably 4 or 5 months while I'm getting all this work done. Now I'm finally pulling it out, and it's just cool. It's cool to see it. It's cool to work with it. It's all well packaged and wrapped. Everything is the way it was when it came in. Nothing is moved, shifted, or anything. It's just a good quality product. Okay. Mud everywhere.
Right?
Turn it the other way as hard as you can. Other way. Hard. Okay, good job. Now pull this down.
Okay.
Yep, you're good. You're in D. Okay, now you got to steer. We're going to run into things. Turn the wheel. Turn it, turn it, turn it. Good job. I think we're doing okay. Oh, we're off the road. Okay, straighten out. Ah! Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, turn more. You're driving a truck, bud. Whoa! Lost our camera.
Ah.
Okay, we're gonna back in here. I think I can take care of that.
That's a back on my seat.
So Thermry provides everything you need. Stainless steel screws. This is a really awesome plug cutting system they have where you start your deck boards or your skirting boards or anything. You've got to screw those first few in. And that little sucker there is a great countersink for doing that. We also have all the T-clips that clip it, which you're gonna see how that works here shortly. We're drilling out this thing has a stop there, so you go just the right depth, and they provide the actual plugs to match this wood and plug those holes, and they kind of disappear. It looks pretty good. Now, I'm just diving in and going on this. By the time we get to the next video and I'm doing the main deck, I'm gonna have a system down and be just rocking through this. When you watch this right here, I'm kind of figuring it out, and we're doing some things you might not want to do, like hammering these clips. Not really a good idea. You can bend them and change the reveal, and also make them kind of get out of alignment. So I figured that out as I did it, and that's how I operate. I tend to just want to go and do it and see it and figure it out on my own. Definitely want to use a soft mallet here to hammer these together. That's the one thing about thermally modified wood. The process makes it a little bit brittle. So if you use a hammer, you could split it. And I was pretty impressed with Thermry's product. It wasn't as brittle as a lot of the other thermally modified woods. You get an idea of the beautiful color of this stuff as well as we put it in. This is ash, which, if you know anything about ash, it's a really light colored wood, but the process of how it's cooked in the kilns and how it affects the lignin in the wood, and it bakes out the sugars, you end up getting this nice rich chocolate kind of color. It looks really good. That just looks, pretty amazing actually. It almost looks a lot like walnut. You can kind of see how these T-clips work. You just basically, once you get that first row, man, you're going. We're checking our measurement to make sure we're not getting out of alignment. We're also pre-oiling the ends. Travis is oiling the ends. And then drop a board in, screw in your clips, next board. It's pretty quick. You want to make sure you got the clutch set on your drill. You don't want to torque these down too hard. You'll damage the clip and mess everything up. Another thing I noticed with Thermry is they're very meticulous, I guess, about making sure there's no defects in the wood. Like, every board is pristine. If there are any misses or defects in the milling, it's on the bottom. It's thawed out. And I didn't get any boards that were damaged, any boards that looked bad on the surface. It's such a clean planing surface. Like, it's pretty amazing. They're using some quality equipment to get those kind of finishes right off of a machine. I really can appreciate that. And I think it shows in how it looks. As we're getting this first kind of section in, I mean, I'm getting pumped now. It's starting to look really cool. It goes well with the house. And then I like the black steel post we put in. Kind of matches well with that. And as we get further down, you'll see the railing system we put in. It's a cool product. So you can go ahead and rail me in the comments for wearing sandals. Probably shouldn't be doing that. I bet it's Saturday or Sunday. I just had to come out and cut this because it's such a quick and easy thing with this plunge cut saw. And the cool thing here too is when you cut this stuff, the thermally modified ash, it's the same color. Like, the whole process bakes through the wood, and it's just sucking the sugars right out of the wood, and the sugars are the food source for things like rot and mildew and mold, and even insect borers like termites. So it's crazy. Like I thought when I cut it, maybe on the core it would still be that white ash color, but it's this color all the way through the board, which is awesome. All right, so my track obviously isn't long enough to do the whole run, so we're gonna do half of it here, step over, line her up, and finish this cut off. This will give you a good look too at the metal bracket I fabricated. You see how we shimmed it off an inch because that skirting is gonna kind of come in right there, and I don't want it to. I want to see the bracket. I think it looks cool. Also, anything metal in this deck I painted with Total Boat Wet Edge. It's a 1-part polyurethane topside paint for boats, but it's an awesome paint. So freaking durable, really hard paint, easy to apply. I'll link that in the description. I've worked with Total Boats. I've used Total Boat products for years now, and the Argus is covered in Total Boat paints, and they are durable and they hold up. So I'd recommend it. I'll link it in the description. And there you have it. A little bit of burning there. We'll sand that out.
I think those birds are going to New York.
Oh, man. Jared, it looks so good. Look at it. Doesn't it look great?
Yeah.
Dude, it looks great. I need a high five. Oh, we missed that story. That was bad. All right, now we can go watch a movie. Let's quit working. It's Friday. It's late.
Right.
Let's go hang out with the fam. Okay, so as always, thanks for tuning in on video 3. We're gonna come in on video 4 and start working on the soffit. We got a lot of wood to install on the soffit and start laying on the deck material over on the main deck. And then we got some electrical work to do because we're gonna light this deck up. We're gonna make it look really pretty at night. So stay tuned, video 4 coming to you soon. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and as always, appreciate you guys tuning in. Also, if you want to support the channel, I got Patreon, which is helpful, or if you just want to get a cool t-shirt, I've got my Stay Sharp shirt, got hats, got all kinds of nice stuff up there. Links, they're right below the video, so you can just go right down there and click and help support what we do. So, as always, appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video. Do you know what kind of bird it is?
Oh my God, this is so sad.
What kind of bird is it?
I'm going to have to look that up in my bird book because I don't know that many birds with yellow bellies. Can I hold it?
Yeah, you want to take it and go look in your bird book? Oh, you want to bury it?
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, what kind of bird was it again?
Wilson's Wobbler.
Wilson's Wobbler. Yellow belly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna bury in the front yard.
Dad,
Yes.
that's fun.
Okay, show me where you want to bury it. Goodbye, bird. Sorry you ran into our window. Anybody want to say a prayer for it?
Not really.
John, you want to say a prayer for the bird? What about you, June?
Dad, I've never seen a little.
Johnny, you could say a prayer, bud.
Dad, I've never seen a little.
Jenny, you want to say a prayer for the little bird?
Dad, I've never seen a little bird.
Okay, well, we don't need to pray for a bird
Dad,
anymore.
I've never seen a.
Okay, I'll put a rock there. Bye, Warbler. Let's move on. Seashell rock, cool.